Welcome to today's program entitled Ukraine's Courageous First Lady Olena Zelenska. The current First Lady of Ukraine is Her Excellency Olena Zelenska. As the wife of the Ukrainian President, His Excellency Volodymyr Zelensky, a Shining World Leadership Award for Bravery laureate, she was at her husband's side when he first entered politics and when he won the presidential election in 2019, becoming the sixth president of Ukraine. But neither of them could ever have imagined the events to come. Becoming First Lady meant Her Excellency Olena Zelenska was thrust into a position of immense responsibility. Millions of her country's citizens looked to her as a source of great inspiration and stoic resolve, especially as Russian forces aggressively invaded their homeland on the 24th of February 2022. For several months after the unprovoked attack began, Olena Zelenska only saw her husband as the rest of the world does, via video calls, on television and video links. We all watched him heroically and successfully rally the Ukrainian nation to unite and defend its invaded borders, unyieldingly devoted to saving his beloved country. As the Russian leaders declared the Ukrainian president their primary target, his family was also endangered. While in hiding, Olena Zelenska still rose to support the needs of the Ukrainian people, using various digital media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. She has uplifted the hearts of Ukrainians and also sent bold entreaties to international leaders and the world community at large, bringing awareness and awakening the world to the immense and immediate dangers facing not only Ukraine, but the entire globe. She told ABC News,
розуміли всю глибину небезпеки, тому що зараз, коли ми
As every woman in Ukraine, now I fear for my husband. I also know how strong and enduring he is. He loves our country, our motherland. He loves his nation, his family, me. And I know how strong are these feelings. Therefore, he will defend all this till the very end.
and to the global community, she said,
Today, a friendly pat on the shoulder is not enough. Today, words of sympathy and concern are not sufficient. We ask NATO to close our sky on behalf of all the people of Ukraine, or at least provide us with aircraft so we can defend our sky by ourselves.
Olena Volodymyrivna Kiyashko was born on February 6, 1978, in Kryvyi Rih, the largest city of central Ukraine, just 11 days after her husband, who was born in Kryvyi Rog in southern Ukraine. Since the time of the Russian Empire, centuries ago, Kryvyi Rih has been a center of Jewish culture and remains so today. Olena's family belonged to the secular Jewish society, which was common during the Soviet era. Olena Kiyashko attended the same school as Volodymyr Zelensky, though they were not acquainted. she commenced her studies in architecture at Kryvyi Rih National University, and in 1995 she began dating her future husband, Volodymyr Zelensky, who was pursuing a law degree there. As Volodymyr Zelensky's aspirations turned increasingly toward a career as a performer, Olena began helping him write jokes and sketches. 8 years later, in 2003, the couple formed Kvartal 95 Studio, a production company that creates both live-action and animated TV series, with a goal to make the world a better place, a kinder and more joyful place. Olena was one of its chief writers, and the company has produced many highly popular comedy series, including Evening Vartal, Svati, Liga Smiku, and Servant of the People. In September 2003, Olena Kiyashko married Volodymyr Zelensky. In July 2004, their first child, daughter Alexandra, was born, followed 9 years later by the couple's son Kirilo. As a screenwriter, Olena worked exclusively behind the scenes, assisting her husband with endless funny lines and scenarios that helped him become a household name in Ukraine, long before he had even thought of becoming a politician. Perhaps his seeds in politics were sown when he famously starred in the satirical television series Servant of the People. In the popular show, he played a high school history teacher who unexpectedly becomes the Ukrainian president and sets out to rid the government of corruption. Volodymyr Zelensky went on to register a political party named Servant of the People. When Olena Zelenska found out that her husband intended to run for president, she was initially opposed to the idea, but soon realized the necessity for such a move.
That's when we decided to do something to save our democracy. When TV channels, one by one, fell under their leadership's control, we realized if we didn't act, we'd end up in the same situation as Russia.
Mr. Zelensky announced his candidacy for the presidency in 2018 and eventually won the election with a landslide victory in April 2019. When the parliamentary election was held 3 months later, Servant of the People won the majority of seats. In an interview with Vogue Ukraine, shortly after her husband was elected president of Ukraine, she said,
I prefer staying backstage. My husband is always on the forefront, while I feel more comfortable in the shade. But I found reasons for myself in favor of publicity. One of them is the opportunity to attract people's attention to important social issues.
The First Lady of Ukraine, Olena Zelenska, became a spokesperson for various causes, such as gender equality and the arts, with membership to the Council for the Development of the National Cultural and Art Museum Complex, Art Arsenal. She helped organize programs supporting children and young people in Ukraine, including improvements in school nutrition and the development of a national strategy for a safe school environment and deterrence to domestic violence. When the United States government offered asylum to the Zelensky family after Russia invaded her country, the steadfast First Lady refused it, vowing to stay in the country with her children in support of her husband and country. She shared her feelings with the Ukrainian people, stating on social media,
Today, I will not have panic and tears. I will be calm and confident. My children are looking at me. I will be next to them and next to my husband and with you.
Her Excellency Olena Zelenska has repeatedly highlighted the plight of children caused by the invasion by Russian forces, denouncing the mass murder of Ukrainian citizens, most of whom were unprepared and defenseless, including pregnant women and children. She has repeatedly spoken of her absolute pride in the women of Ukraine, fighting side by side with the men. In an open letter to Ukrainian women posted via Instagram, she said,
Before the war, how scary and still unusual to pronounce it. I once wrote that there are 2 million more women in Ukraine than men, and now it takes on a whole new meaning, because this means that our current resistance also has a particularly female face. My admiration and bow to you, incredible compatriots.
In another social media post made by First Lady Olena Zelenska, she highlights the atrocities carried out by Russian troops.
Ukrainians lead children to basements every night and fight with the enemy under the walls of their native houses. We are against the war, and we did not attack first, but we are not going to give up.
On May 21, 2022, Olena Zelenska gave her first joint interview with her husband, His Excellency Volodymyr Zelensky. As the nation strives for peace, the union of the presidential family is a great boost of morale for the Ukrainian people. Recently, our beloved Supreme Master THANH Hntem spoke about the Center for Ukrainian Refugees in the Lithuanian capital city, which was the joint idea of the First Lady of Ukraine, Olena Zelenska, and the First Lady of Lithuania, Diana Nausėdienė.
Very good. The First Lady of Ukraine is working very hard. She rarely appears in the public, but she does work behind the scenes to help these desperate citizens. She's a good girl.
Yes, Minister.
She also contacted Macron's wife, the First Lady of France, so that they can send some refugees and take care of all that for the refugees in France and for the children.
With sincere gratitude for First Lady Olena Zelenska's courageous dedication to improving the lives of her noble Ukrainian co-citizens, our hearts and prayers are with the Ukraine men, women, and children. May God's protection be with you always, and may peace and abundance soon return to your homeland.
The perception of meat is increasingly misleading. You buy it in plastic packaging, and the piece in front of you has nothing to do with the animal. This becomes your steak, not that cow you admired in the pasture months ago. Alan Kabilitsa, vegan.
Noble viewers, thank you for your devoted company today.